Hi class, today we're going to talk about conflict management. To start off, what exactly is conflict? Conflict involves incompatible or clashing views, and it can often arise when an organization's practices are not in line with a customer's needs or expectations. While conflict is not generally something we like to deal with, can it be beneficial? You bet. If handled properly, it can have a positive outcome. Through conflict, you might recognize the differences between what customers are expecting and what you currently offer. So, by staying focused on the issue at hand and not letting matters get personal, the company can learn about areas that may need to be addressed, and this can result in a better product and service for customers in the long run and a more successful business. Now, if we want to learn how to manage conflict, we should first understand what causes conflict. Conflicting values and beliefs are a common cause of conflict. Our values and beliefs are generally formed over the period of our lifetime, and people can get very defensive when their foundations are challenged. Another cause of conflict is personal style difference. And this means that we all have a way we prefer to communicate with others. Somebody might be more decisive and upfront and very blatant with the way they communicate, and another person might be a little more passive or soft spoken. And so these differences in communication can often cause frustration and conflict. Differing perceptions can also cause conflict. For example, two people may hear somebody say the exact same thing to them, but perceive it completely differently. One person might be offended, and the other person might not think twice about it. Poor communication really increases the chance of conflict. For example, let's say that you call a company with an issue of a product you have, and you talk to this person for half an hour and get the situation all solved, and you hang up and realize you forgot about one aspect of it. So you call back and you get a completely different customer service rep, and they have no idea what you're talking about, and you have to spend another half hour explaining everything. If someone had documented the conversation, the customer would not have to re explain everything, and it would save a lot of frustration. Another thing that causes conflict is contrary expectations, such as when a customer expects something from a company and they don't deliver. Goals that are unrealistic can also cause frustration. Let's say that a deadline is set for a certain project and it is not feasible to do it in such a short amount of time. Like, let's say there's a 20-page paper and your professor only gives you 20 minutes to do it. It's just not realistic. There can also be opposition over shared resources. Within an organization, there's usually a budget with a certain amount of money allocated to training or development or different areas. And so splitting up that resource can cause frustration when there's differing opinions on how it should be used. Outcomes that are dependent on other people, this can also cause frustration. Let's say you work as a customer service rep and there's an issue with online payments right now and there's a glitch in the system. And while you cannot control that department, you get all the customers calling that are frustrated and angry. And yet you're dependent on the financial department fixing the glitch. And lastly, misuse of power can also cause conflict. Resentment and frustration often follow when an employee believes that their supervisor is abusing their power. Now that we've covered what causes conflict, let's talk about how to manage it. There are 8 different tips. The first, remain calm. If you remain calm, it's more likely that the customer will also lower their tone and calm down. Whereas if your emotions escalate, it will escalate the customer's emotions as well. And then it's very hard to be a part of the solution when things get out of hand. Next, you want to be proactive in avoiding conflict. As a customer service rep, you are often dealing with many different people, and so it can help to get a good feeling for different personalities and how to effectively communicate with each type of person. There are some great verbal and nonverbal communication skills that can help with this. You also want to keep an open mind. While you may have your own ideas and views of how things should be dealt with, there are other options out there and other opinions, so it's important to consider everybody's perspective. It's important to identify and confront underlying issues immediately. Sometimes conflicts get swept under the rug because they're not very fun to deal with, but by confronting it immediately, it can keep an issue from getting out of hand. Clarifying your communication can also help, ensuring that the customer or person you're talking with understood your intentions. It can also help to stress cooperation rather than competition. You all have the same goal in mind, and if you're working together to achieve that, you can have great results. Next, you want to make sure that you're focusing resolution efforts on the issue at hand. Finger pointing, name calling, making accusations can really escalate tensions. By staying focused on the issue at hand, it can be resolved quickly. Lastly, a lot of times companies already have established procedures for how they'd like you to handle conflict, so being aware of these procedures can help. So, today we covered what is conflict, how conflict can result in a benefit to a company, what causes conflict, and 8 ways to manage conflict. Thanks for watching.
created using Powtoon.